Success doesn't chase you because chasing implies desperation, imbalance, and noise. Success responds to you because response implies alignment, readiness, and signal. This distinction changes everything about how life works, how effort compounds, and why so many people work endlessly yet feel unseen. When you understand that success is not a hunter but a mirror, you stop running and start becoming. Most people are taught, subtly or directly, that success is something outside of them, a destination, a prize, a finish line that must be aggressively pursued. This belief creates anxiety, comparison, and burnout. It turns growth into a race and effort into fear. When you are chasing, you are always behind. You are reacting to what others have, what time is doing, what society demands. And in that state, your actions carry tension. The world feels that tension. Opportunities feel it too. Response works differently. Response is drawn to clarity, consistency, and presence. Think about how nature operates. A flower does not chase bees. It becomes so vibrant, so rooted, so full of life that bees respond. The flower's job is not pursuit. Its job is expression. The same principle applies to human success. When your skills sharpen, your mindset steadies, and your values align, opportunities begin to move toward you without force. This is why two people can put in similar effort and get radically different results. One is pushing outward from fear, trying to prove worth, trying to catch up. The other is building inward from purpose, focusing on mastery, integrity, and patience. The second person sends a clear signal. Success responds to signals, not noise. When you chase success, you often skip the process. You want recognition without refinement, results without repetition, outcomes without ownership. But success is deeply process-oriented. It responds to those who show up daily, quietly, consistently, even when no one is watching. It responds to discipline more than desire. Desire is common. Discipline is rare. There is also an identity shift required. Chasing success usually means you don't yet see yourself as the person who deserves it. You are reaching for something you believe is separate from you. When you stop chasing and start responding, you internalize success as a byproduct of who you are becoming. You don't ask, how do I get success? You ask, who do I need to be? That question changes your habits, your standards, and your decisions. Success responds to self-respect. When you value your time, others do too. When you set boundaries, opportunities become more serious. When you stop accepting less than you're capable of, life adjusts accordingly. This isn't arrogance. It's alignment. You teach the world how to treat you by how you treat yourself. Another reason chasing fails is impatience. Response requires timing. Seeds don't grow faster because you shout at them. They grow because conditions are right. Many people quit too early because they don't see immediate movement. But response often happens after a threshold is crossed, not gradually. You build for months or years, seemingly unnoticed, and then suddenly things shift. It looks like luck from the outside. It's actually readiness. Success also responds to authenticity. When you imitate others too closely, you dilute your signal. The world already has copies. It responds to originality rooted in truth. When your actions match your values and your voice matches your vision, you become distinct. Distinction attracts. You don't need to be louder. You need to be clearer. There is a quiet confidence that comes from this understanding. You stop forcing conversations, forcing connections, forcing outcomes. You still work hard, but without desperation. You still aim high, but without attachment. That calm intensity is magnetic. People trust it. Opportunities trust it. Even failure behaves differently around it, becoming feedback instead of defeat. This doesn't mean passivity. Not chasing success does not mean waiting or wishing. It means acting from intention instead of insecurity. It means improving because growth matters, not because applause is missing. It means creating value before asking for reward. Response comes to those who contribute, not those who demand. When you embody the traits success requires, success has no choice but to respond. Competence invites responsibility. Consistency invites trust. Courage invites opportunity. You don't announce these qualities. You live them. Over time, the world notices. In the end, success is not something that runs away from you or toward you randomly. It is something that reflects your internal state. When you are scattered, it scatters. When you are focused, it focuses. When you are grounded, it stabilizes. Stop chasing the mirror. Change what stands in front of it. Success doesn't chase you because it doesn't need to. It responds when you are ready to receive it. Your habits are voting for your future every day, quietly and relentlessly, whether you notice them or not. Every small action you repeat is a ballot cast in favor of the person you are becoming. Not the person you hope to be someday, not the version you imagine when motivation is high, but the version that will inevitably emerge from what you do consistently. The future is not shaped by dramatic moments of inspiration. It is shaped by ordinary behaviors repeated so often they become invisible. Most people overestimate the power of big decisions and underestimate the power of daily routines. They wait for the perfect plan, the right time, or a surge of motivation to change their lives. Meanwhile, their habits keep voting the same way they always have. Skipping the workout, scrolling instead of reading, postponing the hard conversation, choosing comfort over growth. None of these actions feel significant in isolation, but together they form a clear majority vote. Habits work because they bypass intention. You don't need to feel inspired to follow a habit. You just do it. That is why habits are more powerful than goals. Goals point to a destination, but habits determine the direction you travel every day. You can say you want to be healthy, disciplined, focused, or successful, but if your habits vote against those outcomes, your words don't matter. The results will always reflect the votes, not the wishes. This is also why change feels so difficult. You're not just trying to adopt a new behavior. You're trying to overturn an election that's been running for years. Your current habits have momentum. They have history. They have familiarity. When you try to change them, it feels uncomfortable not because it's wrong, but because it's unfamiliar. The brain prefers what it knows even when what it knows is limiting. Every habit reinforces an identity. When you wake up early and do something hard, you're voting for the identity of someone who is disciplined. When you avoid responsibility, you're voting for the identity of someone who escapes discomfort. Over time, these votes solidify into beliefs about who you are. Eventually, you stop saying, "I do this," and start saying, "I am this." Identity is the outcome of repeated behavior. The danger is not that one bad habit will ruin your future. The danger is that you normalize habits that slowly lower your standards. You get used to being slightly tired, slightly distracted, slightly behind. You tell yourself it's fine because nothing is falling apart yet. But habits don't collapse your life overnight. They erode it gradually. By the time the consequences are obvious, the votes have already been counted. The good news is that habits don't require perfection to work. They require consistency. One good choice won't change your life, just as one bad choice won't destroy it. What matters is the trend. Are your habits generally voting for growth or for stagnation, for courage or for comfort, for progress or for excuses? You don't need a landslide victory today. You just need to start shifting the balance. This is where awareness becomes powerful. When you realize that every action is a vote, you start acting with more intention. You begin to see that small choices matter because they repeat. Drinking water, writing one page, practicing for 10 minutes, going to bed a little earlier. These actions seem trivial, but they are persuasive. They quietly build a future without demanding immediate results. Habits also compound. The first vote feels meaningless. The 100th starts to feel like identity. The 1000th becomes destiny. This is why patience is essential. You are often voting for a future you cannot yet see. Progress feels slow because the benefits lag behind the behavior. Many people quit during this gap, assuming their efforts don't matter. In reality, the system is working exactly as it should. It's important to understand that habits are neutral. They don't care about your intentions or your circumstances. They will faithfully deliver whatever future they are designed to create. If you build habits around avoidance, distraction, and short-term relief, they will create a future that reflects those values. If you build habits around learning, effort, and self-respect, they will create a different outcome. The mechanism is the same, only the direction changes. You don't need to overhaul your life to change your future. You need to change the way you vote, replace one habit at a time, make it so small that resistance has no excuse. Focus less on intensity and more on reliability. A habit that you can sustain beats one you abandon after a week of enthusiasm. Ultimately, your future is not decided by luck, talent, or dramatic turning points. It is decided in quiet moments when no one is watching. When you choose what to do with your time, your energy, and your attention, you are casting a vote. Day after day, those votes add up. One day, you will look at your life and realize the result was never accidental. Your habits have been voting all along. The only question is whether they're voting for the future you want, or the future you're avoiding.